Hello to all. In this video, we are going to discuss the concepts related to addressing modes and basic programming of 8051 in assembly language. Here we are going to discuss the format of assembly language instruction, 8051 RAM architecture, the PSW register, that is program status register in 8051, and the various flags available with the 8051. Next we will discuss the various addressing modes of 8051, and finally we will discuss some of the basic programs for 8051 microcontroller. Assembly language instruction. Assembly language instruction consists of 4 or 5 fields depending on the number of operands. The individual fields are label, mnemonic or opcode, next is operands, and the last is comment. Now the 4 field is having only one operand, while the 5 field instruction is having 2 operands. Now coming on to the individual fields of the assembly language instruction. The first is label. Label is the name or definition which is given to a particular memory location in the assembly program where an instruction resides. Whenever to call a particular instruction, it can be either called via label or via address. Mnemonic or opcode. This field consists of the instruction from the 8051 instruction set. Next is your operands, field 3 and field 4, operand 1 and operand 2. Now in case of instruction is having only one operand, there is no other definition given to them. The instruction will be performing the operation on the operand 1. If there are 2 operands, then the operation is to be performed as per the instruction on the operand 1 and operand 2. For example, addition, so one of the number will be operand 1, one of the number will be operand 2. But here the point to be noted is the operand 1 will always be a destination and operand 2 will always be a source. So whenever the addition will be happening or whenever the addition will be operated, then operand 1 will contain the or will consist of the result after the execution of the instruction. The last field is your comment. The same is in the 4 field instruction. The comment is a short description of each instruction about its function or what it does in the program. Architecture of 8051. 8051 comes with the 128 bytes of RAM, which is divided into different sections for the purpose of easy handling. Now the very first area in the RAM of the 8051 is register banks. The register bank occupies the memory location from 00H to 1FH. There are 4 register bank in the 8051 from named as register bank 0, 1, 2 and 3. Each register bank comes with the or is having 8 individual registers named as R0, R1, R2, R3, R4, R5, R6 and R7. So there are 8 registers in each register bank and there are 4 register banks. So if we calculate, there are total 8 cross 4 registers, which comes out as 32. So there are 32 registers in 8051. Thereafter the area is located to the bit addressable RAM, which consists of the area where individual bits are addressable. So any application requiring the single bit memory location can use this area, which is assigned from 20 to 2F in the memory and having in total 128 bits. The next is a general purpose area, which is occupied from 30 to 7F. This can be used for any purpose during the execution of the program where the data manipulation is being taken care. Thereafter the last section is special function register, which is allocated to the registers which are defined or which comes with a specific function in the 8051. For example, serial communication, timer, interrupt, etc. PSW, which is program status word. The program status word is the register which consists or which contains the status of the program, and the word indicates that it is a 8-bit register. The PSW is a bit addressable register which can be addressed with the format psw.x. That means individual bits of the PSW register can be addressed using the format psw.x. PSW stands for the or is for the register and x is the bit number. If we write psw.0, then 0th bit is being addressed, and if we write psw.5, then the 5th bit is being addressed. It consists of all the flags. The flag is a single bit information. In addition to the flag, it consists of the RS0 and RS1, which are used to switch from one bank to the another. As we have already discussed in the previous slide, there are 4 banks, so in order to switch from one bank to the another, we need these bits to be manipulated as per the bank selection. Now discussing the individual bits of PSW register, the very first bit, that is PSW.0, is dedicated to the parity flag, which indicates the number of 1 in the result. If the number of ones in the result of the assembly language instruction happens to be odd, then this bit will become 1, and if the number of the ones in the assembly language instruction execution result is even, then the P will become 0. Next is your PSW.2 overflow bit. PSW.1 is don't care, so it is not being used in the 8051. Overflow flag indicates or is the flag for indicating the result of the signed number operation overflown into the signed bit. This will become 1. So if the result of the signed number operation overflows or goes to the signed bit, then the overflow flag will be 1. This is only used to detect the error in the signed number arithmetic operations. Next is your PSW3 and 4, which are dedicated to the register bank select 0 and register bank select 1 bit. These are used to select the register bank out of the 4 register bank available, as we have already discussed. By default or on reset, register bank 0 is being selected, and if the programmer needs or the requirement of the program is such that to use the other register banks, then these bits are used and is being selected as per the truth table. So 00 setting these bits will select the register bank 0, which is also a default register bank, The register bank 0 occupies the addresses from 00 to 07H. Similarly, if the register or RS bits are selected as 01, then register bank 1 will be selected having the address from 07 to 0F. Similarly, 10 in the RS bits will select the register bank 2 with register range from 10 to 1F, and finally 11 will give you or will take you to the register bank 3, which is from 18 to 1F in the 8051 memory. Auxiliary carry. Auxiliary carry is set whenever there is a carry from D3 to D4 during an add or subtract operation. Otherwise, this auxiliary carry is cleared. So whenever there is a carry during an add operation from the bit D3 to D4, this auxiliary carry will be set, otherwise it is clear. It occupies the position PSW.6 in PSW register. The flag register is only used to perform the BCD operation or BCD arithmetics. Next, or the final bit in PSW register is carry flag, which occupies the position PSW.7. Carry flag is set whenever there is a carry from the bit 7 or whenever there is a generation of the carry out of the addition of the two numbers. The flag bit is set, otherwise it is cleared. The bit is affected after an 8-bit addition or subtraction operation. After discussing 8051 flags in detail, let us take an example to understand the flags in much better way. Take the example of addition of the two numbers. We will be ignoring the overflow flag as it is being used in signed number operation only. We are going to do only unsigned number. This is the first number. This is the second number to be added up. Now if we add these two bits, the status is the result will be 1 and the carry to the next bit will be 0. Again, if we add 0 as carry, 1 and 1 as the data bits, we will have result as 0 and carry to the next bit as 1. Then if we add 1 0 0, the result is 0 and the carry is 1, and again 1 1 1 will give the result as 1 and carry as 1. So this will go on, and we will see that these are the carry bits from bit to bit and the result is this. So if we check the status based on these carry bits from bit to bit, we will find that carry is 1 as carry has been generated, auxiliary carry is 1 because auxiliary carry is D3 to D4, this is your auxiliary carry, again this is 1, and parity. So count the number of 1 in the result, that is 1 and 2, these are the only two numbers. The parity, the number of ones happens to be even, so the parity bit will be manipulated accordingly. So if we see the status of the carry flag is 1, the status of the auxiliary carry is 1, and the parity is 0. Overflow is don't care, or you can make it 0 as we are going to work, or we are working with the unsigned numbers. Addressing modes in 8051. Addressing modes are the different ways of addressing the data, information or operand in assembly language programming of 8051. There are basically 5 addressing modes in 8051. These are immediate addressing mode, direct addressing mode, register direct addressing mode, register indirect addressing mode, and indexed addressing mode. So in the coming slides, we will be discussing all of these addressing modes in detail. Now taking up the individual addressing modes one by one. First is immediate addressing mode. The immediate addressing mode is for transferring an immediate data, that is an information, into the register. The register can be from the register bank or an accumulator. Now the format of the immediate addressing mode, for example, is move a comma hash data. Data is the immediate information. Hash is the specifier for the immediate addressing mode. Move is the instruction to move the data from one location to another location. A is the accumulator register. For example, if we write move a comma hash 38h, then 38 will be moved to the accumulator A, and after the execution of the instruction, accumulator will consist of 38. The special character to be used with the addressing mode or the addressing mode specifier is hash. Next is your direct addressing mode. The direct addressing modes include or involve addressing of the memory through its actual address. The format for the addressing mode, that is direct addressing mode, is move a comma 8-bit address. For example, move a comma 38h will move the data contained in the location 38h to accumulate. For example, if 38h is my memory location and the data present over there is 24, so this instruction is going to move in accumulator 24, not 38. There is no special character associated with it. So in the immediate addressing mode and direct addressing mode, the difference is immediate addressing mode, the information or the data will be preceded by the hash sign. If there is no hash sign, then that information hexadecimal number will be interpreted or taken as address instead of data. Next is your register direct addressing mode. Register direct addressing mode consists of the assembly instruction format as move a comma 8-bit register. Now here the 8-bit register can be specified in two ways, either by the address of the register or either by the name of the register. The name of the register we have already discussed are designated as R0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 till R7 for each of the register bank. Now if the register is mentioned by its name, then it is register direct addressing mode, otherwise it is a direct addressing mode. So for example, move a comma R1 is a direct addressing mode instruction moving the content of R1 to A, that is if the content of R1 happens to be 45, then accumulator after this instruction will consist of the content of 45H. There is no special character required in this type of the addressing mode. Addressing mode is register indirect addressing. Now in register indirect addressing mode, in the instruction we provide the address from where the information or data is to be fetched, rather than providing the data itself as a part of register or as an immediate data. For example, consider the instruction move a comma @r0. Now here @ is a special character which specifies that it's an indirect addressing mode. Now in this what will happen, or we can state it in this, we can state the statement as the data present at the address contained in R0 is moved to A1, not the content of R. Now elaborate this with an example. Consider the instruction move a comma @r0, the same instruction. Now the content of R0, for example, supposed to be 45H. Now 45H in this particular format will be considered as a address value of the memory. Now 45 address, that is memory location, will contain, or for example consist of 12H. Now what will happen here with this instruction execution? The information or the data present in A will be the data present at the address contained in R0. So R0 contain the address 45, and the address 45, that is memory location 45, contains the value 12H. So the accumulator will be having 12H, not 45. Now one of the limitation of register indirect addressing mode or indirect addressing mode is register R0 and R1 can only be used to hold the addresses that of 8-bit length. If the address happens to be the 16-bit, then you can use, or the registered DPTR can be used. The special character which characterize the indirect addressing mode is AND. The last addressing mode is indexed addressing mode. The indexed addressing mode is same as that of the registered indirect addressing mode. The differences are, in this the instruction is move C is to be used always, and the index addressing mode consists of two parts of addresses. These parts are base address, which is contained in DPTR, and index from the base address, that is contained in accumulator, and effective address is obtained by combining the or adding the two addresses. The special symbol here is also used as @. Now discussing it with an example, let's suppose A is moved with the 38 immediate data, which will frame the index of the address. DPTR is moved with the 200H, which will frame out the base of the indexed address. Now the instruction move CA @A plus DPTR will move the data from the effective address obtained from this to A. So DPTR is 200, A is 4, effective address is 204, the information present at 204, for example, is 38. So the accumulator will be moved with the 38H. This addressing mode is generally used when the data is stored in the continuous memory location and is not to be changed throughout the execution of the program, like constants or tabular data. In this, the move C indicates or means move the data present in the code memory, right? Now the DPTR can be replaced with the program counter or PC. Now the effective address will be A plus PC. So the special character used is accumulator. Another term is effective address, which is combination or which is obtained by adding the base address and index from the base address. Base address is being stored by DPTR and index is being stored by the accumulator. Now after discussing the addressing modes of 8051, the next part of the video is dedicated to the basic programming of 8051 in assembly language. The program we are going to discuss in this will be addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Now the first program is addition of the two 8-bit numbers. The instruction for addition of the two 8-bit numbers are add and add C. The formats are add A, operand, and the operation will be performed by this instruction is A is equals to A plus operand. Now for the add C, A, operand, the operation performed is A equals to A plus operand plus C. Now coming on to the add instruction and discussing it with example. In this the operand can be in any of the addressing mode. It may be immediate, register, direct or indirect. Now we will be discussing these one by one. Now coming on to the first immediate addressing mode. In this clip of the program, it has been observed that originate and end are used. Originate and end, org and end are the assembler directive which tells certain directions to the assembler. The originate tells to place the first instruction of the code at the location specified over here, that is 0000H in our case, and end specify the end of the program. Now for the immediate addressing mode, the first operand is moved, which is to be added in A by the move instruction, and the second operand is present at immediate in the add instruction. So the instruction add over here is immediate addressing mode, or using immediate addressing mode for adding the two numbers, and the result will be stored in accumulator. Similarly, the second mode is register addressing mode. In this, the operand is moved in the register R1. As before, the operand, second operand, is moved in the accumulator. The both contents are added up. Here you can see that the second operand, that is this, is a register with the content 6. So this is addition with register addressing mode. Similarly, the direct addressing mode, here we will provide the one of the operand in accumulator as usual. The second operand will be provided in one of the memory location, that is R1 selected over here. The R1 register is having the address as 01H. So in direct addressing mode, as we know, instead of register name, we are to provide the address. So address is provided over here. This instruction added the content of A and the memory location 01H using the direct addressing mode. The last is your indirect addressing mode. In this, the R1 register contains a value which is not the data or the operand, but is the address from where the data or operand will be fetched. The accumulator will contain one of the operand as usual. The addition instruction will contain the indirect addressing mode as depicted by the presence of @ symbol. Now what will happen? The addition instruction will add the content of A to the content contained in the address holded by R1, that is R1 holding the address 09 for this example, and 09 location holding the value 06. So again the A content will be added to the 06. Now here the few things to be mentioned, that flags affected by the addition instructions are carry, auxiliary carry and overflow flag. And the second thing which is to be noted here, that one of the operand should be in accumulator, as we have seen in all these examples. The third thing is the result will be always stored in accumulator. So the things which we need to take care are the flags carry, auxiliary carry and overflow flag will be affected. The accumulator will always be consisting of one of the operand that is to be operated on, and the result will always be stored in accumulator. Program is subtraction of the two 8-bit numbers. The instructions are SUB, SUBB, and the formats are SUB A, operand,
the operation will be performed is A equals to A minus the operand. That is, the content of the operand will be minused or subtracted from A. That is content of A. SUBB, subtract with borrow. In this, the operation is A equals to A minus the operand, same as the above, but here the carry is updated as per the status of the borrow. The flags affected in these instructions are carry, auxiliary carry, and overflow flag. Here also the operand can be defined or provided in any of the addressing mode. In immediate addressing mode, the operand in the subtract instruction is provided by using the hash sign, that is, it is an immediate part of the instruction. In register addressing mode, the operand is stored in one of the register and the register is provided in the instruction. In direct addressing mode, the operand is stored in one of the memory location and the memory location is provided as part of the operand in subtract instruction. Similarly, for the register in direct addressing mode, the address from where the operand need to be fetched is provided with the special symbol at in the instruction. Here the R1 contains the address from where the operand will be fetched. R1 contains the 9 is the memory location, and from the memory location 9 the operand 06 will be fetched and the operation subtraction will be performed. In all the cases the same example is taken, so the result will be rough. Now the things to be noted over here are same as that of addition instruction. The flags affected are carry, auxiliary carry, and overflow, and one of the operand must be in accumulator and the result will going to be stored in accumulator. The next program is multiplication of two 8-bit numbers. Now the instruction for the multiplication of two 8-bit number is MUL space A B. Now in this, no addressing mode works. The instruction is fixed. You cannot or one cannot change anything in this. One of the operand should be in A and other operand should be in B, and the operation performed is on the form A star B, which is also written over here. Now consider the example. A contains hash 20, that is 20 decimal value. B contains 25 and the instruction AB will multiply these two numbers. Now the multiplication of the two numbers can provide a result of up to 16-bit. So the result is stored in two registers. So the result is stored in two registers, that is B and A both. B will contain the higher byte of the result and A will contain the lower byte of the result. That is why here it is written A cross B, that is A multiplied by B. The result is B and A. Flag affected by this instruction are carry, which will be always 0, and overflow flag. Here again the limitation is one of the operands should be in accumulator and the other operand required to be in B. The last program to be discussed is division of the two 8-bit numbers. The division of the two 8-bit numbers or the instruction related to the division of the two 8-bit numbers is almost same as that of multiplication. The only thing is the operation is replaced by the division. So the instruction is div space AB. A will contain one of the operand and B will contain the another operand, and the operation will be performed in this fashion, that A will be divided by B. Considering the example, A contains 19 and B contains 6. So the divide instruction will divide the 19 by 6 and the result will be in two formats again, that is quotient and remainder. In this case the A will contain the quotient and B will contain the remainder. So after the division, A is 3, which is quotient, that is answer, and B is 1, which is remainder. Again here the flags affected are carry, which is 0 always, and overflow flag, and one of the operand is required to be in accumulator and another operand is required to be in register B.